boys and girls. I'm Nana Rose. I have another Dr. Seuss story for you today. This is the Lorax. I like this story because he uses a lot of non-words that say exactly what he wants to say. Pretty cool, huh? I don't know how he does that. I don't know how he creates words that are nonsensical, but they say exactly what he wants to get across. The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. Just so you know, this book has been banned in some places, and I'll tell you at the end why. For Audrey, Lark, and Leah, with love. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing, excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. Notice the colors. Very dark, dark sky. Get the plants. And deep in the grickle grass, as some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere from the far end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old Onceler still lives there. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of miff-muffered moof. And on special, dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail and the shell of a great, great, great grandfather snail. See the pail? Whoop. The kid's throwing the stuff in. Then he pulls up the pail, makes the most careful count to see that you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his gruvulous glove. Then he grunts, "I will call you by whisper my phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone." He pulls up the pail, puts it in his snub. Slop! Down slops the whisper-ma-phone to your ear. And the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a sneggerly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. "Now I'll tell you," he says, with his teeth sounding gray, "how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. Oh, it all started way back, such a long, long time back." Notice what happens to the colors on the next page. Ready? Whoosh. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean. The song of the swami swans rang out in space. One morning, I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees. The truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. This says Onceler wagon. And there's birds. Swami swans. Look at these trees, aren't they fun? And under the trees I saw the brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade, eating truffula fruits. From the rippulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. Brown barbaloots. There's his wagon. It's interesting how you only ever see the Onceler's arms, and in the beginning you saw his eyeballs. But those trees, oh, those trees, those truffula trees. All my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what to do. I unloaded my cart. And in no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took the softest tuft and I knitted a thneed. So there you see his arms. There he's knitting a thneed. There's the tree he chopped down. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazoomp. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? Oh, that's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy. And he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees, but the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses. Yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool thneed. But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just at that moment, a chap came along and he thought that the thneed that I knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor stupid guy. You never can tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. I rushed across the room and in no time at all, built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts and I said, listen here. Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch. Take a left at Weehawken. Sharp right at South Stitch. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Then, oh baby, oh how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees in one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week, he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round. And my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they don't have gas and no food in their tummies. Oh, they loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys! He cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm. I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered my loads of the thneeds I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds. And I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax! He coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled. He snargled, he sniffed. Onceler! He cried with a cruffulous croak. Onceler! You're making such smogulous smoke! My poor swami swans, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Oh, where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax. Ooh, his dander was up. Let me say a few words about gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gloppity glop, also sloppity slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old onceler man, you. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. Have you noticed how it keeps getting darker and darker? Not like it was at the beginning. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, "Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs." And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall. The very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more thneeds, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smokered stars. And now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a sad, sad backward glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget that grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word: unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. Oh, that was long, long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds, and truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care. Give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. And that is The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. As a kid, I read this, and I also saw the animated film of it, and it really made an impression on me. There's a line in the book originally that has been taken out since, when he's talking about how they're going to have to walk on their fins and be woefully weary. There was a line that said, "I hear things are just as bad up in Lake Erie." But Lake Erie worked really hard to clean their lake, I believe in the 1970s, and it became clean, so that they took that line out. I'm not sure, they might have to put that line back in again. But I don't know if you know this. As a kid, I'm not sure I understood all of this, but the onceler is all of us, right? Humans, we chop down trees, we pollute the water, we do all the things that the onceler does. And the Lorax is, I don't know, the voice of Mother Nature telling us we need to smarten up. I think right now, with how serious climate change is getting, we know that what we're doing is making a difference for the worse. And I think the Lorax is really important, just as important today as it was when Dr. Seuss wrote this book. You're a kid, right? But there are things that you can do. You can make sure that trash goes in trash barrels, but not any trash barrel. If it's paper or cans, it can go into recycling. And then it's made into more paper and cans, which is exactly what we need to do. If you peel a banana and you have the banana peel left, you can put it in a compost bin. You can start one in your own kitchen and just put all of the organic food scraps from vegetables and fruits into that. There are things that you can do. You can turn your light off when you're not in your room. Make sure that you're not wasting electricity. You can take a short bath or shower. You can not let the water run while you're brushing your teeth. You know how you sometimes run the water at the very beginning to get your toothbrush wet? Turn it off. Then brush your teeth. And then when you're all done, turn the water back on to rinse your brush. Things like that, just simple things that you as a kid can do. But we need to remember the Lorax. We need to remember Mother Nature. And we need to take good care of this planet, because it's the only one we get. We were raised, we were designed to live on this planet. Even if we did figure out how to go to Mars or some other planet, that's not our planet. That's not the one that we were meant to be on. So we need to learn how to live on this planet. Whatever you do today, take care of the planet, but have fun.